everybody. It is Friday, and I have to tell you, it is tech terrible here at my house today. Literally lost internet connection like 10 minutes before I was supposed to go live. So I have been frantically setting up my backup and my phone camera, and so I got some backup going on in the meantime, and then all of a sudden it came back, and so we're doing well. And anyway, it is Friday, and I hope that everybody is having a fantastic day and has some wonderful weekend plans. We're headed into it's mid-August already. I cannot believe it. I'm excited. I get to do some traveling in the next few weeks, doing some conferences, some networking, some really fun stuff. And we'll be doing that over the next few weeks. So that'll be fun. Next week, I think I will be coming to you live from Indiana. So here in Michigan today. But I am really excited about Friday Friends this week, you guys, because one of my favorite friends is here. So what do we do on Friday Friends? I share my friends with you because the truth is I have some pretty amazing friends. They do really neat things. They're doing a lot of active things in regards to patient advocacy, healthcare, finance, like literally all of the things. But today I have a really special guest. Caryn Isaacs is here. And I have to tell you, she is like one of the originators of patient advocacy. She started utilizing the term patient advocate in 1976. So, but without any further ado, I'm going to bring her on camera and let her tell you a little bit about herself. Hey, Caryn, thanks so much for taking some time to join us today. How are you
Hi,
this Friday?
I'm great, and I love watching these too. I enjoy watching it. It's quick, and it's just neat to see the other side, a friendly side of people, people
Right.
that
And
I
you
that I
just what?
watch, that I follow, but get to see them as a person.
I love it. I love it. So, as I said, I am honored that you took some time to hang out with me today. You have been so inspirational and instrumental in the development of our industry as patient advocates. Would you mind kind of sharing a little bit about your journey so that other advocates can get to know you a little bit better?
Yes. So, having developed hundreds of healthcare businesses and running several multi-million dollar companies of my own, Uh, my journey includes pioneering a physician owned HMO and participation in health reform, which is so important to continue to be in the knowledge, in the know of what's going on legislatively, regulatory wise. And I use that experience to benefit people who I identify as aging icons.
I love that. Hey, Karen, just a minute. Do you have I'm hearing some interference on the microphone. Do you have any wind or anything? I don't know
No.
if it's on my end. Okay. Well, it's gone now. So go right ahead. Tell us about aging icons.
So I find ways for aging icons to continue to live their passion. So an example is one of my clients was a mayor of a major city, and he had had a stroke. But his family and friends just thought he was hard of hearing. So he was excluded from conversations and he stopped getting invitations. Um, and I found a way for him to speak to audiences without having to hear them and even answering questions. So allowing him to continue his life of service. And what I discovered was that when people tell you that it can't be done, that just means that they don't know what to do.
I have to say, every time I see that, I think that's in your email signature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time I see that, my heart just is like, yes, that is so true. So if you don't mind, say that one more time. When they tell you it can't be done, what was
When
it?
they say that nothing can be done, that just means that they don't know what to do.
I love it. I
Right?
love
Or,
it.
they just don't know how. So,
Right.
this is obviously when you get calls from the family members, uh, they've tried everything.
Right.
People don't just
Right.
jump right to calling a patient advocate. They've already tried it. They've made all the phone calls themselves. They've
Yeah.
fought with whoever they thought they could fight with, and now they're finally saying, "Okay, I
Right.
need help."
I need help. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So they've tried everything. They can't seem so talk to us. What kinds of things would you want every new advocate to know as they enter into this industry and get their practices started?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is to know that you can't do it alone, right? Y- You're a leader.
Right.
You're a leader in your field, and you need to respect the fact that other people are leaders in their field. And so, actually, we met through Alliance of Professional Health Advocates. We
Yes.
give all credit to Trisha to putting us all
Trisha.
together. And we
Trisha, if
would,
you're watching this, hello. We love you.
and we always had that. She gave us those opportunities to speak at the conferences. And one of the years we were asked to put together a table where people could come over and talk to us about a particular topic. And I said my topic was team building. And when I did that, people were coming over saying, I did not expect it to be this, because I was talking to them about putting together, having a lawyer that you trust, that has different topics, several lawyers, different social workers. When I work with a client, I always bring in a nurse. I'm not a nurse, I'm not a social worker. I bring those people
Right.
in. It's covered by the insurance. So why wouldn't I allow my clients to have advantages of having all this input? And then I know when I'm making my plan for them that I've gotten all the information that I need. I'm never charging them to learn on their time.
Right. Right. I love that. I think one of the things that I think makes us so valuable inside of navigating the healthcare system is exactly that, Karen, is the fact that the idea of having a team approach and a patient centered team approach is kind of elusive in the general sense of healthcare. Um, and as advocates, we really get the opportunity to foster and encourage that sense of team that surrounds the patient with the support that they need. Right? Is
Yeah,
that
and
what you're saying? That's what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think people who are starting out, they have the tendency to need money and want to show that they're valuable. So they will say, yeah, I can do that. And it's really not a great idea to do that. As a mentor, I get many of the calls that I get from the mentees are when they've taken on something that was really not in their wheelhouse and they shouldn't have done it. Right.
Right.
Right. And there's so many, it's being able to reach out and understand that you don't know everything. And I think, especially that's the importance. I always talk about the importance of that initial assessment, right? And it's not an interview. It's not an initial interview. It's an assessment. It's really looking at that, every aspect of what it is that you're going to get involved with. And that's why I charge for that service, right?
Right.
Right. An interview is a free phone call. This is what I do. Here's my phone number. But it's
Right.
basically also a sales pitch to say, uh, if I'm going to get involved in your case, I need to be able to charge you for my time.
Right, right. So I love this idea of, and if I'm not mistaken, this idea of staying in our wheelhouse and, taking cases that are very specific to our skill set as advocates, um, really aligns with one of the ethical principles that are outlined in the code of ethics for our profession, right? Making sure that we have a broad network, and have the depth in our professional network to reach and get those resources for patients. Again, is that's I
Yeah,
think that's a really
and it is
important thing for us to
also,
think
you
about,
know, because time flies fast, and like I have been doing
right?
this for a long time, and so it's also, from the business end, it's building a sustainable business, a model, so that you don't have to do everything. You don't want to be stuck where you're working 5 years from now and you're saying, I'm working 24/7 and everything
Right.
has to be done by me and I need to be handling all of these things and nobody can do it the way I do it. It's something to be able
Yeah.
to train people. And that's why I love doing the
Mhm.
mentoring, because I have loads of people that I've trained. And so I know their skills, I know their strengths and their weaknesses, and I can refer clients to them with confidence.
Yeah.
I don't have to take all the clients. In fact, we know we can't take that many clients. The truth of it is we can't.
Right.
So unless we're looking to build a big organization, a company where we're going to hire hundreds of advocates to go out,
Right.
at this point, that isn't really, there may be that
Yeah.
person, and that's why I said I ran big companies like that, where I had many employees
Yeah.
and national organizations. But when what I'm looking for now is to be able to just bring in my team, have enough
Yeah.
people, and also know where to get other people. If I don't have someone that I can count on, you know, does one of them know the person that I need to bring in?
Right. Right.
Right.
So true. As you were talking, one of the things that came to my mind is I get a lot of questions, and we get a lot of questions in the circle about, how do I know what my maximum caseload is as an advocate? What would your like what would your suggestion be to newer advocates that are like trying to find that
Yeah,
balance,
the sweet
right?
spot, the sweet spot.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is why, all of us mentors, all of that information is still there on the AFA site. Um, that we put together a bunch of questions and information for people to think about before they even start, or before they think that they need to call a mentor. And that is to do a business plan, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Would you fail?
And your business plan model, because if you are understanding and agreeing that you need to have a narrow specialization or a narrow area of practice, where you'll be, what type of work you'll be doing. First of all, it's, what are your strength? That's why I say strengths and weaknesses, because it's your SWOT analysis. Strengths, what's your
Mhm.
weaknesses? Where are the opportunities in your area? You can just say, I'm the best at this, but if you're the 100th person doing it, chances are you're not going to be building a big business too quickly, right? Um, and so, that's one of the reasons that I now talk about the background. It's not a resume. You're not going to give them a resume of everything that you did, but what makes you able, not just, I did it for my parents, so now I could do it for you. What are the skill set that you bring in? And I always say that to people when they, and as far as trying to get people to know what a patient advocate is, they're not. Most people are saying, I never heard of that. And how can you explain this whole, background? And I'm sitting there learning how to be a patient advocate. So they are, to be able to, say, this is why I'm able to do this, because I was a setup person, because I knew how to, the background, because I knew billing, because I used to do billing in a hospital, whatever it is that skill set is, that lends a lot of credibility to why it's you, not in general. I see that on websites, people are trying to explain why to get a patient advocate, when to get a patient advocate, what a patient advocate does. They're not reading the encyclopedia of patient advocacy.
Right?
Right? Although I should say that on Monday night is the Pulse People for Patient Safety meeting, where we will be doing step 5 of the Take Charge program, which is find an advocate, be an advocate. And so we are going to talk about people's expertise, what they specialize in, and when you need to call an advocate for yourself, or when you need to call other advocates in to your case, into your client.
Right.
So it depends on, the answer to your question is it depends on what you're doing. So my clients are people who don't have anybody, and because I have an affiliation with an attorney, um, I always work together with I have a few different attorneys, basically geographical areas in the area of elder law. And so I am their power of attorney and healthcare proxy, but always together with the attorney. So I have somebody that's making sure everything is legal, making sure that somebody's saying, yes, I saw what Caryn was doing, not do this in a vacuum. Um,
Right.
right? Or to bring in the money manager, a fiduciary to handle the money, but still be able to help the patient to make their decisions, to direct these people. So, I'm the person with the client. As I say, I'm the one that gets to do all the work. They get to just say yes, no, maybe.
They're the decision maker, right?
Right. So the way I built my business and made it sustainable is that um, I have a retainer. So I always get, after my initial assessment, I give them a plan, and I call it a business plan for their life, because it goes from this is what we can do right away to handle the emergency situation you called about. But these are the things that you'll need to think about, several months down the road, 5 years down the road. This is how long your money's going to last. I'm looking at, besides healthcare, I'm looking at their financial and legal issues, because if you can't afford the healthcare, because I do
Right.
some, like to work with people who are open to alternative medicine and things like that, that's not going to be all covered by insurance. Right. And
Right.
some things are just lifestyle changes that you have to make that will require money. So I really have to know what money the person has. I need to know exactly. And then I carve out the time, and I tell them I'm carving out this time. And because I'm carving out the time, I'm going to charge you upfront. I need to
Right.
get this retainer, and you are making the commitment to me that we're going through this together, and
Yes.
I'm going to carve out the time, and you're going to make that commitment that it's definitely going to be happening and be paid for.
Right.
And so it's a hard sell to do. Um, I'm more confident, so people accept it a little easier. But I tell them that the clients that really appreciate it 6 months from now, when they're not getting a
Right.
bill, when I'm not having to sit down and spend time with them talking about money. And when we're going out and doing things, I don't let them pay for anything, because I know what to take into consideration. They don't have to pay for extra transportation. I pick up the lunch bill. If we go shopping, they say, I don't have any money. I have their money. I have money available for them. I have their retainer. So we can do the things that we talked about doing.
Love that.
Mhm.
I think that's a really important thing for newer advocates to hear is this whole idea of how do I set my practice up so that I can be sustainable, right? And I'm not um, creating a situation where I'm spiraling behind the wheel. And I love the idea. I know that lots of us do an upfront retainer to kick things off with clients, and I specifically appreciate what you said about getting the client's buy-in, right? where they're making a commitment to this activity that we're saying we're going to do together, because I feel like it really is a partnership when we work with our clients. And that does give them, for lack of a better term, some skin in the game, right?
Yeah, I think, I try to say to people when they say, well, that's like a case manager, right? And I say, no, the difference between a care manager and the patient advocate is the care manager gets the person to agree and comply with whatever the doctors said, whereas
Exactly.
we are there to listen to what the patient wants and figure out a safe way for it to happen.
Right. I love that. Taryn, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Really quickly, if any of our viewers or listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so my website is agingicon.com. I also have GetHealthHelp.com, which is my patient advocate site. Um, Aging Icon, I would love to share a song with you.
Oh, yes, that would be great.
Live like you want to live, give like it's never over, love like never before. You're shining bright, aging icon, just getting going, and there's so much more. Live like you want to 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 live.
Love it. Thank you so much, Karen. So much fun on this Friday, friends. I love that. Thank you so
Yeah, we
much
have
for
to make it
all of
fun,
the work
right?
that you do.
It's like
Right?
we're dealing with life and death, so let's make it fun.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh. Karen, it is always a blast to hang out with you. And for those of you that didn't catch it, go on over to Pulse Center for Patient Safety. Karen mentioned that that's an organization that she and I both work regularly together in, and our other friend Eileen Karina. She was a Friday friend before, so if you haven't seen that one, go back and see that one. That's a really great way for advocates and patients and families to really get involved in the healthcare system and make sure that we're getting the care and the safety anyway that we need and deserve. So if you're not familiar, go check that out. Go hang out with Karen. Find her on agingicon.com. Karen, this has been great. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. You have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for all the wonderful things you do for us too. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Karen. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.